What's going on, guys? Jacob Orth back here with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas, coming to you guys from a little different setting today because we have a special guest on the channel, the Las Vegas gal, Lacey. Say hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me back as always. I appreciate it.
Oh, so a lot of you guys have been on the channel for a while. You've seen Lacey on here, and if she's on here, there's a good chance we're talking something about real estate here in Las Vegas because that's what she does.
Yeah. Well, that and a few other things, but this is my favorite thing to do, so I love it.
Exactly. So we're going to be talking about how to buy a house here in Las Vegas, okay? So how to buy a house here in Las Vegas. We're talking about the year 2022 because the last couple years have been a little bit different when it comes to real estate here, wouldn't you say?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster, my friend. A bit of a roller coaster, but a good one, and we're happy to be on it. I love a good roller coaster.
So we're going to help you guys out today. She's going to have some awesome info. If you need to contact her, you're going to be moving here, looking to buy a place. If you have a place to sell before you move here, if you're renting now and you need a place to buy when you move here, if you plan to buy in the future, whatever the case is.
You already live here. It's okay too, right?
Yeah, if you already live here and you're moving across town, then there'll be a contact link for her down below.
Yep.
She will help you with the real estate side. We do have an awesome mortgage lender who help you with all that. So believe me, start to finish, they got you covered. Buying a house in Las Vegas, all right? So let's talk. The last couple of years have been kind of crazy with real estate as we go into 2022.
Yes.
So someone who's looking to move here, their first thought is, they're just doing research right now.
Yeah.
Okay, what do they need to know?
Okay, so the process does not change from year to year. I will say that. That's the good news about real estate is that you can count on. The process is consistent. The first step, no matter what, when you want to buy a house in Las Vegas, whether you live here, you're moving here, even if it's 5 years from now, first step is to click the link in the description below and to call us. I know that sounds silly. Some people get all wrapped up, and your followers especially are like, but it's going to be 10 years before I come, or I'm just dreaming or thinking. We don't care. We want to talk to you now because if you're even thinking and considering it, we want to start to build that relationship early and in advance. So we know
you've had some who've called you and they're like, yeah, I'm 3 years away from buying.
And guess what? We actually just finished closing somebody a few months ago who had started working with me 3.5 years ago. Thank you very much. And they just finally got their house. And they were so grateful that we were able to kind of keep that conversation going through the years. It does make that process a lot less scary, I guess, when you feel like you know the person you're talking to. So it's helpful. But the process doesn't change. So typically once you click that link, what will happen is we'll set up an introductory call with you. We'll do the phone call. We'll ask you all about what your goals are, what's your plan, what's the reason you want to move here. And really, we want to get to know your neighbor, not your neighbor, we want to get to know your personality and not your neighbor. You're probably moving away from your neighbor for a good reason, right? We want to get to know your personality so we know what neighborhood to put you into and where to really kind of align you when it comes to the Las Vegas Valley. You know as well as I do, this place is ever changing. It's constantly, it's an amoeba, right? It's a constant, ever changing thing. So we're the ones who have the finger on the pulse of what this place feels like and what we're going to be able to align with your type of living. So it's good. So process kicks off with us. You might be lucky enough if you become a client to be able to say hi to Jacob at some point in time. But really, during that phone call, Jacob, what we do, and you know this, is we set you up with a couple of lenders. We let you choose who's going to be the best fit for you. Then you get that process started. If you're not buying a house with a loan and you have cash, we love you, first of all. Makes it so much easier.
We'll simplify it.
Yeah, right. I know. This big bucks over here, he's going to be buying a house hopefully with cash at some point someday soon, but and me too. So we'll start the process sooner. But really, it's get on the phone, get you connected with a lender, and then once you're approved on a loan, we don't go ahead and set you up with like a house search. Now, I know you've done it because you've done this to me where you'll send me something from Zillow or Redfin. What about this house? What about that house? And everyone does it.
And it's gone.
Right. So it's usually gone. So we love that. We know that you're out there doing your own searching. We love that you're doing that. Please, by all means, start sharing with us what you're thinking because it really helps us get an understanding of what you like, what you don't like. We don't necessarily assign you to work with an agent until you're really fully approved, fully fledged, ready to go. Because honestly, we don't want you building a relationship with an agent specifically who may or may not still be in Vegas in 3-5 years when you finally get ready to move. Once we know you're ready to start, we will look at our team, whether it's me who gets to work with you directly or someone else, but it's gonna all be based on what you need, your personality, and what really the scenario calls for. We set you up on a drip campaign so you get little emails. We encourage you to text us and let us know kind of what you're thinking and what you're seeing online so we can tweak that criteria. We even had that. We were looking recently with a client. We were talking to them. I was telling them about you, how you're always talking about certain areas of town and they love watching your videos. Jacob said this in that video. This is not in that neighborhood. How come it's not in that neighborhood? I'm like, there are no houses in that neighborhood for sale right now, or they don't fit your budget or whatever. But they do love you, dude. Thank you for doing all those videos. So luckily for your neighborhood videos and our neighborhood videos on the Sarong Group channel, really we kind of collaborate and we just figure out where to go from there. But then we start looking at houses, then we make offers, and that process is pretty simple.
Yeah, so let's say, start to finish, if someone's trying to do it quickly,
Yes.
buying a home. So cash, then say they do need to get a mortgage.
Good question, yeah.
Start to finish, keys in hand, what are they looking at?
Okay, so if you started looking today and we were able to find you a home, like say this weekend, we could have you with cash probably in 15 days if you want to move that fast. Probably 15 days you could have keys in the hand, move into the house. With a mortgage loan, you're probably looking at 30 days, maybe 40 days, but typically within 30 days we can get you into a house, which is really great. The process is great and it's easy. It's tightened up when you're in escrow. It's before you're in escrow that's the problem. Finding the house, making sure you're shopping for the house, making sure you're okay with the house that you're putting an offer on, and getting accepted. Yeah.
Even coming from out of state, same time frame.
Yeah, absolutely. So it just depends. So a lot of people love to shop from out of state, but they get bummed that they can't be here to look at the homes in person. We are one of the only teams who, prior to COVID, were doing video tours, virtual tours for clients, where we would physically go with our phone and camera and our team, do a really detailed walkthrough, walk them through, talk about the house, open drawers, open doors, like truly give them a sense that they're there with us. I know it's not 3D, but it really did help a little bit, I'd say. And a lot of our clients have purchased homes without even being here or seeing it first, which I'm not a fan of, but we are willing to do that and we can. If you can go that route, heck yeah, as soon as we find the house and we get that offer accepted, you're looking at like 30 days. Yeah, pretty awesome.
So in the process, 15 days, 30 days, 45 days,
Yeah.
let's talk, what are some of the fees, some of the costs, things people need to be aware of that,
So money-minded, dude. I love you. I love this.
Exactly. I mean, because obviously from state to state, some of the stuff can vary, right?
It does, and it can vary. Actually, let me make one more point on the closing time frame. A lot of the reason why we are able to close in such a tight timeline here in Vegas is we don't use lawyers to close escrow on homes. A lot of other states do. We don't use lawyers, we use escrow companies. So I think that gives us the ability to shorten that time frame. Back to your question. So fees. Okay, so when you're buying a house, there's a few things you need to think about. You gotta have your down payment. Down payment needs to be anywhere from 3.5% all the way up to 20% or greater, depending on the kind of loan you have, depending on what you wanna put down, depending on what you want your mortgage to look like each month. So that's gonna be something that you'll work out with your lender. And we've got some lenders that we really do trust. Amber Coleman is the one that we use a lot. We speak to her on this channel quite a bit, and she's amazing. But if Amber's not your vibe or doesn't fit what you need, I can't see how she wouldn't, but if she doesn't, we'll certainly add another lender to the plate and you can choose. But really, it's just gonna be dependent on your situation. So anywhere from 3.5% all the way up to 80% if that's what you have in the bank. Beyond that, from a fees perspective, you're gonna have your earnest money. So the earnest money is really just lets the seller know when they've accepted your offer, you throw money down within the first 2 days, and you put it into a wire, into escrow. It's held in escrow, nobody has access to it. That comes out of your down payment. So that's just letting them know that you're serious, you're gonna proceed forward. So if they're gonna take it off the market, once they have that earnest money in hand, then they feel comfortable doing so. They're not missing other options or other possible buyers. So you got your down payment, you got your closing costs. So in your closing costs, there's quite a few things that get packed into that, and I'm not even able to decipher it all the time. Your lender, though, is gonna be really helpful when it comes to understanding what to anticipate. Closing costs can be anywhere from 1% to 3% of the actual purchase price. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, think about 1% to 3% of that amount, and that's in addition to your down payment. So you got down payment and closing costs. Those are two things that you need to be very, very ready and willing to spend. The good news though, Jacob, and I think you guys should talk about this with Amber, and we've done some videos on my channel, is there are grants and free money programs all over Las Vegas that want to help people. So I don't want people to be discouraged thinking, well, I'm never going to be able to save that much money, because that happens. I'm even like that sometimes. No, there are grants and free money programs galore. So make sure you're looking into all of those as well with your lender, because you can use some of that for your down payment and to cover some of those closing costs.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
Yeah. When you buy a house, Jacob, after you're in escrow, after you've put your earnest money down and you're kind of just waiting, there are a few other things that happen in that first 20 days of escrow. First things first is we're gonna need to order a home inspection. So those typically range anywhere from $300 to $600, depending on the size of the home and what that looks like and what the inspector is gonna charge. The home inspection is the most important freaking thing. So you better be sure that you want the house that you're putting an offer on, because you're gonna have to shell out $300 to $600 right away in order to get that inspection back. And we have to do it quickly because it has to be done within the first 5, 10, or 15 days of the escrow, depending on what was negotiated. The appraisal is another fee that's gonna hit, and that's usually within the first 10 days of escrow, and that's gonna be done directly through your lender, and that can be anywhere from $500 to $700. I don't know. I'm not involved in that process. I'm not allowed to be, and I stay out of it for a reason. But other than that, there's really not a lot of fees that come up throughout that escrow process, unless you're looking at additional inspections. Like, let's say they found a leak and you want to have an extra plumber go in and do additional inspections or scope the drain, things like that. That might cost more, but for the most part, it's the inspection and the appraisal, your down payment, your earnest money, and your closing costs.
Yeah, and also you'll be happy to know that when you do buy property here in Nevada, we are, I think, number 4 for lowest property taxes in the country.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, people always love Nevada for the no state income tax, which is true, but also we have one of the lower property taxes in the country as well.
Absolutely. It averages anywhere around 1% essentially, but sometimes it's less than 1%, sometimes it's just a little bit more. It just depends on what your house is classified as, whether it's a second home or your main living and all that. So it's really, really cool. Your lender will help you kind of work that in so you know what kind of taxes are going to be coming out. So yeah, process is easy. The costs are pretty standard. Again, it's going to depend, but they're all pretty standard. And that's that, so.
Okay, so let's jump into the part that a lot of people probably want to know about. It's about neighborhoods to live in, because there's 2.3 million-ish people in Clark County living here from as we on to 2022. A lot of that probably picked up from 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
This area's been growing for a long time, but as we look into mostly the Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas area, there's over 2 million people now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of choices to choose from, but let's talk a little bit about a handful of neighborhoods that you're seeing a lot of people request.
Yeah, so what people may not, first of all, I remember when we were not even 1 million people. I remember when we were about to hit 1 million people. It was like the early 90s. I was probably in junior high school. Yes, I'm that old. But I genuinely, man, that just hit me. And a lot of people think that many people, that must be overcrowded, but we're super spread out. So I think it's awesome.
We got a lot of desert here.
We sure, tumbleweeds galore, partner.
There's still a lot of land that's going to get filled in over the years.
I love it. So speaking of that, though, a lot of people get confused when they think about Las Vegas. They assume Henderson and Summerlin are 2 of the most rival neighborhoods that people talk about the most, but Henderson is actually not in Las Vegas, so we're not even going to talk about that today.
It's its own separate city.
Yes. Same thing with North Las Vegas. We'll talk about that separately as well. So just for the Las Vegas proper, just in that area of town, I'm a huge fan, and I know you are too, of the southwest area of town. Really beautiful, fast growing, a lot of kind of the young up and coming restaurants and things like that of the city, kind of a foodie area down there. Southwest has Rhodes Ranch, which is a beautiful gated neighborhood, guard gated, gorgeous homes. It's a golf course. They've got Mountain's Edge, thank you. They've got gorgeous parks out there. Southern Highlands, another upscale. It's funny because Southern Highlands has custom homes all the way down to just regular tract homes and condos. So everything runs the gamut there. Tons of parks, a lot of gated communities, a lot of golf, a lot of luxury, great food.
New casino coming.
Yeah, new casino coming. Yes, I know, man. Durango Station,
Durango
right?
Station Casino.
I used to work for Station Casinos. I saw plans for that. I'm not kidding you. 20 years ago. So it's nice to see that they're finally hitting the ground running.
IKEA in the Southwest.
Yes, sir.
I did a video on that like 5 years ago.
I know,
when
that was
was
huge.
coming to town.
And around IKEA, they call it like the Bend, and that's because it's where the freeway actually makes a hard right and goes into the Summerlin area. So the Bend is a really up and coming area of town, which we really, really love, and it kind of bumps right up to Summerlin.
Yeah.
So Summerlin, my friend, is the most popular neighborhood in all of Las Vegas, and there's a lot of great reasons why, but Summerlin's one of the biggest neighborhoods, master plan communities within the Las Vegas Valley.
Yeah, and I mean, with the Southwest, what happens really, I think Southwest and even like Northwest, because they're near Summerlin, they get overshadowed by Summerlin.
Summerlin adjacent is what we like to say.
They're Summerlin adjacent, so Summerlin gets a lot of attention, but the neighborhoods right next to Summerlin are also really nice.
They're badass,
and you're close to Summerlin, so lots of times those places you can actually get more bang for your buck. And if you really want the Summerlin amenities, you're just down the road from it.
You just walk over, cross the street, and you get to take advantage of them. I love it.
Exactly.
Speaking of the Northwest, so the Northwest has some gorgeous new communities up there called Sky Canyon, which is, so Northwest, when you're looking at the map of Las Vegas, it's genuinely the top left corner. And it's the last neighborhood that you're going to see before you exit Vegas and go towards Mount Charleston, which I love. So bumping up against the mountain, bumping up against Red Rock, gorgeous. So Sky Canyon, Providence is a little bit about 10, 12 years old as far as the neighborhood goes, but it's gorgeous. It's right next to Sky Canyon. Lone Mountain is right down the way as well. Centennial. And then we've got some gorgeous master plan communities that are inside of Summerlin called Mesa Ridge and Reverence. And then, you've got all the bougie houses that are gated that lock and key, nobody can get into. So really, Las Vegas specifically has so many little pockets. And I always tell people this, that it's really set up like a like in quadrants, kind of, right? Every section of town has all your creature comforts. You don't have to usually leave a 3-mile radius of your home typically, because it's all right there. Unless you want to go to IKEA, which is the only one location in town, but it's not far. So Vegas in general, from a neighborhood's perspective, has a lot of options. It just depends on the type of neighborhood you're looking for, the type of vibe, how close to the mountains you want to be, how close to the action of the city you want to be, and she'll pretty much offer everything you need.
Yeah, because something like if you want to have a house with some more land, you want a horse property, like the Northwest is a really good place to look.
Yeah, lots of like 1 acre or larger plots of land that you definitely pay for, but they're worth it.
Yeah, so you've got plenty of options. If you want to be, within 10 minutes of the Strip, you can do that living in the Southwest or even. No, Northwest might be a little bit harder.
Northwest is about 15 minutes, but yeah.
Right, but if you want to be like 25, 30 minutes away, where, you can go to the action if you want, but, you really don't want to be that close to it.
Yeah.
You can live farther out Blue Diamond Road and Mountain's Edge. You can live up in the Sky Canyon. You can live farther away, so you have that peace and quiet.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the action's always there.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is, even though we're increasing in population so much, I think 2019, the stat was 130 new people moving here every single day in 2019.
Jeez.
But that doesn't account for the people moving out too, so there's definitely attrition through that.
Right.
But what people don't realize and don't take into account is that Las Vegas is set up in a grid-like pattern. There's beautiful freeways. There's not a ton of traffic yet, and even if we get a ton of traffic, we're so spoiled. It's not really the traffic that you would see in LA, right?
Depending on where you're moving from.
Yeah.
If you're moving from LA, you're going to laugh at our traffic.
Yeah,
if you're moving from I don't know.
Kansas or something, we're maybe a different conversation.
Yeah, exactly. You might think it's a lot, so it's going to depend on your perspective.
But you can get genuinely anywhere within 15 to 20 minutes in the city, unless you're traveling from edge to edge, and the max would be probably 45 minutes. So we're really, really lucky here, and I just love it. But yeah, man, buying a house in Las Vegas is the best thing you can think about doing. Process is easy, and we try to make it fun.
Yeah, so I mean, we covered, process, we covered fees, we covered neighborhoods. Anything else you want to say?
Just that they probably should click the link in the description below so they can call our team and make sure that we get to hang out. And I will say this, I can't always promise, but our team does some awesome things. When you're a part of our Throne Group family, you get to be a part of our world after you move here. We try to make it easy for you to connect to other new locals by doing events throughout the year now that COVID is gone, and well, not gone, but we've moved on from that whole experience. So, and it's sometimes at those events, this guy shows up and likes to say hi and wave and shake hands and kiss babies. And
sometimes she just texts, hey, this event's going on, be there. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, or I'm like, hey, it's happening right now and I forgot to tell you. Do you want to come by? Yeah, free food, free drinks. Sure. So we really do. We really are trying to create our own sub-community within Las Vegas because you know as well as I do, it is tough trying to meet people and connect with people when you move here. So you have to really be vigilant about it. So we do those events to help all of our new locals who have just moved here connect with the locals that are already here. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Because I don't know, the stat I saw years ago was 76% of people in Nevada are not born and raised here, including the man you're looking at right here.
And me too, even though I have a hard time admitting that. I really do, because I really want to be a native Las Vegas person.
Yeah, but you came here when you were like a little kid.
True.
So you come in adulthood, it's a little bit different, but guess what? Millions of people who live in this area were in the same position as you. When they were new and moving here, they didn't know anybody.
That's right.
So there's people who will help you out, and they understand.
And their name is Lacey, and we're here. So no, but I'm super excited. Thank you again, as always, for just having me. I love being able to talk about this, not just about real estate, but you know how much I love this city. You know how much I want people to love living here. So it's really not about the houses, guys. It's really about you connecting with us and letting us help you get, make the best of it.
And starting your new life here in Southern Nevada. All right, so Lacey, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you for being so awesome, guys. Link is down below to get in touch with her and her team to help hold your hand start to finish with the home buying process when you move here to Las Vegas. So
thank you.
That's going to be it for this video. Thanks again, Lacey.
Thanks, Jacob.
I am Jacob, and this is My Life in Vegas. Hell yeah!
Hey.